Hi everyone, and welcome to lesson 4 of your online virtual classroom. Today we're going to be starting our lesson with reviewing the parts of the violin and bow. So starting from top to bottom, we have the scroll of the violin, which is this swirly part up here. And with the scroll, we have our 4 pegs, which we use for tuning the strings E, A, D, and G. And when we move the pegs, that really changes the pitch a lot. Here we have the neck of the violin, which is this wooden part. And on top of the neck, we have the fingerboard, which is this black part where we put the fingers, obviously. And moving down, we have the front and back of the violin. We have our sound holes, one on each side, where the sound comes out of the instrument. We have the bridge, and it's very important that the bridge is always straight up and down, not leaning to one side. And here the strings come down. We have the bottom of the strings here. And even though I just have one in right now, these are the fine tuners. And we move these counter and clockwise and counterclockwise to make fine adjustments to the pitch. And the fine tuners are in this black piece right here, maybe brown on yours, but this is called the tail piece. Here we have our chin rest. This is the button of the violin, where the tail piece is held in place with this loop. And here we either have a shoulder rest, or you guys have your sponge, which is on the back. Now moving on to our bow, we have the stick of the bow, which is the wooden part. We have the hair. Don't touch the hair, don't touch the hair. You'll get it dirty. And up here we have the tip of the bow. And down here where we hold our bow is called the frog. In the frog we have this part, which is a piece of fabric, mine usually leather, and it's called the grip. And here we have the screw. And the screw is a very important part of the bow, and we move it, we turn it clockwise, counterclockwise, and what this does is tightens and loosens our bow. So if I turn it this way, I am loosening the bow, and you can see that the stick is very close to the hair. So this is how the bow looks when it's loose. And this is what we want the bow to look like when we're not playing. So it's very important when you're done practicing to loosen the bow. Now to tighten the bow, we turn the screw the other way, like this. And we tighten it until there's about half an inch or so of space between the stick and the hair. Another thing that I wanted to point out about instrument maintenance is that it's really important to wipe off the leftover rosin that we have on our strings and body of the violin when we're done practicing for the day. I'm sure you've noticed after you rosin up your bow and you play for a little while, that parts of the rosin will stay on the strings and it'll just leave this residue. It's very important to wipe it off with a cloth. This is what I'm using right now, just like microfiber cloth. I also have one that looks like this, or sometimes I use this cloth, this small washcloth, and I just wipe all the extra off. You should wipe here over the strings very lightly. You should wipe underneath the strings on the body of the violin because a lot of it will get here. And then you should also put the cloth in between the fingerboard and the strings and just wipe here. This is very important to do. Get the residue, and also I wipe here because sometimes my hands will sweat while I'm practicing. So it's just really good to clean off all the extra dirt that gets on our instruments from when we're practicing. Now for the second part of the video, we're going to do some ear training practice. So what is ear training? So ear training is the ability to hear something and being able to execute it on the violin. So this is what we're doing when we're learning by ear. We're listening to a piece over and over again until we know how it goes, we internalize it, and then we're able to figure out how to play it on the instruments without looking at any other references like note names or reading music. So we're going to start with this ear training game that we have done a couple times in class. And the way this game goes is that I'm going to play 2 notes, and you're going to have to tell me if the second note is higher or lower in pitch than the first note. So here we go. Is the second note higher or lower? I hope you said it's higher because it's higher. We're going from A to D. Let's do another one. Was the second note higher or lower? It was lower, that's right. We're going from open A to E, first finger on the D string. Let's do a few more. Was the second note higher or lower? It was higher. We're going from open A to B, first finger on the A string. And let's do one more. Was the second note higher or lower? It was lower. We went from open A to third finger on the D string, which is G. The second part of our ear training consists of scales and arpeggios and identifying if they're going up or down. So what is a scale? When we're practicing our A major scale, we're playing every note that goes up from the open A to our high A, which is third finger on the E string. So when we play our scales, we're playing every note. So A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. So that was up the scale. And then we go back down the scale. A, G sharp, F sharp, E, D, C sharp, B, A. When we play an arpeggio, we skip every other note. We play open A, skip the B and play C sharp, skip the D and play E. So that is up the arpeggio. And we do the opposite when we're going down the arpeggio. So E, C sharp, A. So now I want you to be able to tell me first if I'm playing a scale or an arpeggio, and if it's going up or down. So did we skip notes or did we play every note? We played every note. So that is a scale And we started with our open A. And the pitches were ascending. We went A, B, C sharp, D, E. So we went up the scale. How about this one? Did I play every note or did I skip some? So I skipped some. So I started with E, skipped to C sharp, then open A. So I went E, C sharp, A. So I went down the arpeggio. Let's do another one. Did I play all the notes or did I skip some? So I played E, D, C sharp, B, A. So I played every note and I went down. So I went down the scale. And let's do our last one. Did I go up or down? Did I skip some notes? So I went A, C sharp, E. So I was skipping every other note and the pitches were going up. So I went up the arpeggio. So being able to identify between scales and arpeggios going up or down is a very important part of our ear training because we have lots of those in our music that we play. So I'm going to show you some examples from songs that you already know. So I'm going to play the first line of Song of the Wind, and I want you to tell me if I'm playing a scale or an arpeggio, and if it's going up or down. So just in that first part of the first line that I was playing. So did I play every note or did I skip some? So we know Song of the Wind goes A, B, C sharp, D, E, 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 F sharp. So I played every note and I didn't skip any, and we went from A, B, C sharp, D, E, 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 F sharp. So we went from lower to higher in pitch. So we went up the scale. Let's go over another example. So now I'm going to play the first line of May's song. Let me play that again. So did I skip notes or did I play all of them? So we know May's song goes A, C sharp, E, A, C sharp, E, A. So we skipped every other note. So that's an arpeggio, and we went from lower to higher, so we went up the arpeggio. So by doing these ear training exercises, we're able to use these tools to be able to identify what we're hearing in a recording. And ultimately, as part of the Suzuki method, it's really important that we're learning our songs just by listening. So now I'm going to show you how to use the tools that we have from ear training to learn a song by ear. So here I have my recording of Suzuki Book 1, and I'm going to be listening to Perpetual Motion. And I'm just going to be going over the first line. So let me listen to that again. If I was learning perpetual motion, these are the steps that I would take for learning it by ear. So first, I would figure out the first note of the song. So most of the songs that we've been learning so far have been starting on the open A. So open A is a good place to start when you're trying to figure out the notes of these songs. You're just trying to figure out what sounds right. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that it starts on an open A. So let me listen to the recording again and double check that. So I just stopped it after the first note, and it is, so it is an A. We have the first note, and now we have to get the second note. So we're going to go back to our first ear training exercise, which was identifying if the second note was higher, lower, or the same pitch. So we're going to listen to the recording again, and this time we're going to be listening for that second note. So it went, So I think that the second note is higher. And I'm right, that's the same as the recording. So now we do the same for the third note. So we went, So I think the third note is again going higher than the second note. And that's right, that's what we have for the first three notes. We have A, B, C sharp. Now what about the fourth note? Is it higher, is it lower, or is it the same? So I'm listening for what the fourth note is. I'm trying to listen if it's the same as the third note, if it goes higher or if it goes lower. So does it go higher? I don't think so. Does it go lower? No. I think it stays the same. And I'm right, it stays the same. So these are the basic tools that we need to learn by ear. And learning by ear is so much easier when we're very familiar with what we're listening to. So to become familiar with these songs that you're trying to learn just by listening, it really helps listening to these songs every day so that so eventually you won't have to go note by note to figure out how a piece goes. Eventually, you'll be listening for those bigger groups of notes that we were talking about earlier, our scales and arpeggios. So for homework this week, I'd like all of you to listen to all of the songs in Suzuki Book 1, which I'll be posting a link to below, and to start learning perpetual motion by just using our ears. So one more tip that I have for when you're doing your listenings is to not just be listening for the notes, but to be listening for what bow stroke is being used in the piece. The two bow strokes that we know right now are détaché and staccato. And just to review, détaché is connected and staccato is separated. So what kind of bow stroke do we use in perpetual motion? So was there space in between the notes or were they connected? There was space, so it is a staccato stroke. Great job, everyone. Let's go ahead and take our bows. Thank you for helping me teach you. And you say, thank you for helping me learn. Let me know if you have any questions.